Hey, this is Steve with Dabble Lab, and I am with Patrick Sweetman today, who is the founder and owner of Voice First Tech, what Patrick originally an agency that was building voice stuff, and now you're, I think, still doing that and building your own products out. Is that right?
Yeah, we've I'd say spend 90% of our time doing our own products and then 10% on the agency work at this point.
I'm really looking forward to what you're gonna show us today. What, by the way, are you gonna show us today?
I want to show everybody how they can use the APL, otherwise known as the Alexa Presentation Language, using the Jovo framework. Jovo is the biggest open source platform for cross-platform voice app development, one single code base for both Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. And
Awesome.
Amazon Alexa has recently released this feature called the APL, Amazon Alexa Presentation Language. So I wanted to show everybody how to do that, and then maybe we can get into some features for some hearing impaired customers to help out with that experience.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So yeah, let's do it. Let's jump in.
So I went on the Jovo website, and then inside of Learn, you can go to Tutorials.
Okay.
Search APL real quick. You click on APL, and then in here they have this nice little template for us to use. So all we've got to do, I've got a Jovo server running right now.
Yep.
So head over to the terminal, we'll clear this out, and we'll just paste that command. So Jovo new, and this gives us the template of Alexa APL, and when I send this, it should ask for a project name. And I'll just call it Dabble Labs. And then it sets it all up for us, installs all the dependencies. I remember when they first released this one, Jovo's recently gotten much bigger into unit testing, so which we love because we do test-driven development. So before we do any app writing, we write out our test cases to say, this is what it is we're trying to write. We write a test case and then we do that. So when they first came out with this APL template, they actually didn't include the unit tests. And then after one of our weekly calls with the Jovo team, they added it in. So we've been really grateful for how reactive the community is. Jovo is a very fast moving.
Yeah, I mean, they're incredibly responsive. I don't even know how they do it.
All right, so inside of here, we've got the whole Jovo project set up, so we can just start it with Jovo run, real easy. I'll copy this into this dummy app that I have. And let's see what it does. I think this one on the front end is called voicestrikecleaner.com. Voicestrikecleaner.com. Let's see. Okay, so we got this Hello World APL template right here.
Okay.
Which is the only thing that gets returned from this, and we can check it on any of the different screens. So on the large screen, it'll give us the large screen and etc. So that's the base template.
Okay.
What that looks like from a developer side is you have a launch intent, which is the default place that anybody goes when they invoke your application. And then for the Alexa skill, it adds the directive of APL, and then it throws in this main.json. What is the main.json? All that it is this. So this is what an APL document looks like. It has the type, it has a version, and then the main payload with just text and hello world. So if I wanted to change this hello Dabble Labs, all that I would need to do is save that, crash the server and run it again. And then over here, when we launch it, we get hello Dabble Labs instead.
Got it. So the JSON that you're passing in there then is the APL, is the Alexa programming language, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that we tried to think about with our apps is, okay, it's very easy to make this static, like hello Dabble Labs is hard coded in there. But if there's a lot of interactions on our application, what if I want it to just display all of the text that Alexa is saying? And what if I could pass the text that Alexa is saying into here, so that way we don't need to hard code it and make a bunch of these JSON files, but we can just pass it in as a variable.
And
And
that's
so we could,
that's from what I understand about the Alexa presentation language. I think about it is almost like a templating kind of language. If you used, like I don't know, like gosh, handlebars or something like that. It almost seems like it's kind of similar to that.
oh yeah, it's very nice. Have you seen the authoring tool?
Yeah, yeah. In the developer console.
Yeah. Okay, I don't need that. Share that then if
Yeah, I mean, you can show it. I mean, because maybe somebody watching this is not. So
so
let's.
the authoring tool makes it easier to get started with this document. You're like, well, how do I know what to put inside of here, and how can I customize it? What are the options that I have? Because there's so many options. It's like when you made this reference earlier, we're in like the gold rush days of voice, and with so many options, it's easy to get overwhelmed and then to just leave.
Yeah,
Which is why it's nice that they gave us this uh, authoring tool, because then you can say, oh, well, these are one of the templates that I want to use. I really want a list, or I really want to put long sample text with an image on it. And I think that one of them that we're using is this one right here, this image details on the left. So you can see all of the text that's in there. It's got some cheese, food pairings, and wine pairings, countries. And then there are two aspects of an APL document. There is the document, and then there is the data sources. So this first one that we're looking at right now down here below is the actual document.
mm-hmm.
And this sets up the structure. So like, let's add in some spacing. This is like the CSS of
Okay.
voice. So you've got spacing, you've got colors, you've got margins, all of that. And then giving you some primary colors. And then the data.json is where the content is actually put in. So you've got links to images. You have the text, mild Gouda is a semi-hard cheese. I can change. So they separate it out as like the structure of the APL that you're displaying to your customer, and then the data that is actually being populated, the content that goes into that structure.
Gotcha. So in this case, like in the designer here, this data JSON, this is like what stubbed out data, right? So you can see something in the template, and then you would in a real world, you would probably dynamically generate that data and pass it into the template. Is that right?
Exactly. I didn't even realize they had this button until the other day. Do you see this view on
Yeah,
Patrick's
yeah.
Echo?
Uh-huh.
So if I had my Echo Dot set up right here, or the Echo Show right beside me, and I click that, it pushes it. It says it's offline, but it would push that image straight to the device, so I can see what it looks like on a live production device. And I don't know if you saw, but as I'm changing this, it automatically changes it on the screen. So I can do all of my styling and see how it works before I ever deploy it to production. I can see it on all of the devices, what the difference is, how it'll look, and then I can just really make sure that the interaction looks as I think it will before I deploy it to my customers.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So to show you an example of how we are using it with one of our customers, let me change directory to voicedrycleaner.com.
So while you're doing that, are you incorporating APL into everything now, or is it just kind of in select use cases?
Yeah, we use it in everything now. We have internally, we have a base exploration template is what we've called it, that has pretty much all of the features that we like to include across the board in our apps by default. So now we have added in this new feature of APL, and then by default, our APL displays an image of the logo of the business that we are representing, or the avatar that we've created for our voice assistant. So that might be a picture of Cupid for our Valentine app, or the dry cleaner logo for our dry cleaner apps. We are working on one for elderly people right now, so that one's we haven't actually put the image in, but it'll probably be more of a family-oriented image. But that's based now for all of the apps that we do.
Got it. So what about display templates? Like, do you use APL in conjunction with display templates as a replacement for display templates? And is there a case where display templates would be used rather than using APL?
Great question. Display templates came out earlier, and they're much easier to use than the new APL. However, what we found specifically with Jovo is that the display templates don't render consistently.
Okay.
They don't render consistently. Before we were using APL, we were using the display templates, and when we rendered those in our apps, it would load for the customer the first time. We would see that display template, but every other time after that we tried to load the display template, it just had a blank screen. And we kept scratching our heads, and we asked Jovo, like, hey, what's going on with your display templates? Why aren't they working? And they said, well, we recommend going with APL. It's really what's being supported by Amazon in the long term. So we have kind of adopted this thought that display templates are going to get deprecated, and we should just be investing all in on APL. Display templates are definitely faster, though.
Okay, so the functionality, as I understand too, like display templates is a subset of what you can do with APL anyway. So anything you can do with display templates, you could also do with APL.
For the most part, there is I don't know if you've gone into the testing console at all, but if you're using display template and then you go into the testing tab and you try to test your app, it'll work fine on all of the older devices. So the medium hub, the small hub, and I think maybe even the Fire TV.
Okay.
But if you try the large hub and you're using display template, it'll say in this big box, instead of the template is not supported, it'll switch to please upgrade to the APL in order to use the feature. So
I guess that's a hint.
I think it's a hint because they definitely haven't come out and said it at all. Amazon has not said, hey, we're deprecating display templates. Like,
yeah,
I want to make that clear. Amazon is not deprecating display templates, but they're definitely trying to urge developers to go straight for the APL at this point.
Yeah, it appears that is exactly what's going on.
So let's see what happens when we run this one, drycleaner.com.
Here is your order for Sam. We will deliver your dry cleaning at 10 Lane Avenue in Columbus, Ohio, and contact you at 513-850-5895 when it is ready. Did I get all of your information correct?
So here we've populated this dynamically with the voicedrycleaner.com. We've got the brand, we've got some phone numbers, and then here is the text that Alexa just said. So if I say, no, you didn't, something was wrong there.
Okay, what did I get wrong?
It updates.
Was it your name, your phone number, type of order,
Let me
or
mute
address?
this so that so if you're a hearing impaired customer and you have the Echo Show or your family has the Echo Show and you still want to have your dry cleaning done, but the rest of your family's not there who's not hearing impaired, you can still read. And as long as you can speak, you can still interact with the application. And we have just kind of passed in the variable of what Alexa says, and then that just populates a new template. Everything else stays the same for now. We might expand it as we move. And then the only thing that changes is the speech that Alexa is saying.
Gotcha. And you could really push anything in there, right? So it does. You might use it in a case where Alexa's going to say one thing, but you provide some additional information. Like, I don't know, maybe, your dry cleaning is ready. Maybe that's what Alexa's responding back with in audio. But maybe in there it says you've got 6 pieces and your total is whatever, the cost is going to be. And I don't know if I'm making up features for your skill, but it's easy for me to do that. I don't have to code it, right?
You're exactly right. And I love that your mind starts running there, because that's one of the things we found with voice is as soon as we present this to our customers, to the dry cleaners, their mind immediately goes, well, can we do this? Can we reach further? Can we do the next thing? And then
this is such an awesome use case, though. I mean, I love that skill that you guys built, the dry cleaner skill. So what can it do right now? I mean, it just not to get way off topic, but I think it's a really cool application. But what is the scope of what the drycleaner.com skill can do today?
Right now, the single core functionality that it does right now is that it lets dry cleaning businesses that already do pickup and delivery service, which is about 60% of all dry cleaners, it lets them access their customers in a new way. So why not make it easier to just say, hey Lexi, ask my dry cleaner to do my laundry, and then they just show up at your door and grab it. You didn't have to open up your phone and get distracted by a push notification. You didn't have to actually drive your laundry to the store, and it's free. So we're really in the time-saving business, specifically with this application.
Yeah, what I love about it is it kind of I think highlights the possibilities with voice. Like I can see this maybe down the road, when voice is in your car, when the Alexa Auto is out, and just driving home from someplace and being able to say, hey, I'm going to swing in and pick up my dry cleaning. Hey, tell or is it ready? Like I know now it's for delivery, but who knows where it goes as the voice space evolves.
So one of the features that our customer dry cleaners have been asking for is a lookup function, because at nearly all dry cleaning facilities, they have these massive binders full of special care for specific items. If someone drops off a Louis Vuitton jacket, it needs to be preceded with X and X and X, and you starch it and then you press it but don't dry it. All right, that's just a Louis Vuitton jacket. Then you've got like Chanel shoes, and then the special care that they need to do for that. And they have these binders of papers that they have to flip through and find an object and then figure out how to do it. So one of the things that we want to add on feature for our dry cleaners is a lookup function, so they can say, hey, I've got this item. Is there any special care that needs to be done with it? And then it looks through all those papers for them and sends them back, yeah, here's exactly what you need to do. Additionally, here's a video that we grabbed to show you how to do it, so that way you don't need to get distracted. You can just one stop for all the dry cleaning needs.
Yeah, there's so many cool applications for this stuff. And with big screens now with like Fire TV, where you could have like a full on big screen monitor, inside a workplace or a shop or something, where you could be pulling up, whatever the workers need.
Oh yeah, we've been thinking the Fire TV is a game changer that very few people have realized yet, because how many people have Amazon Fire TV with the Alexa enabled remote? If they do, they already can access all of your applications.
That's super cool.
So we started off in here. We had just hard coded the initial Apl template, which is right here. We've got our data source, and this is the Apl template that we put up on the board on the screens. But you'll see in here that our primary text is actually a variable. It's not hard coded. And this phone number is a variable, as well as is our business name. So after we hard coded it, then we abstracted it to a function. We said, okay, let's just pass in a business name, let's pass in a phone number, a logo image, and then text. And then in each of our intents, it will now do that. So we say display APL, pass in this.speech to string, and then it displays it up on the screen.
Got it.
And
so
we have each of those in each of our different intents. We pull up the display APL. And one note here, one of the things that you have to be careful of with developing for Jovo, it's a blessing and a curse. We're building for both Alexa and Google Assistant. So if you try to display an APL template on a Google Assistant, your app will crash.
Oh, really? Ooh, that's a good.
So anytime you want to do that, be sure to include a check. This is an Alexa skill, and that it has the APL interface. Because same way, if you try to display APL on a device without a screen, like the Echo Dot, it'll also crash, and it'll also fail certification. So you want to make both of those checks if you're going to use the APL.
Yeah, those are pro tips for sure. Seems like the Jovo guys are doing a really good job at keeping up with the latest and greatest stuff. So like progressive responses and things like that. I think that's all supported, isn't it?
Yes, we used progressive responses in this app originally because we had a slow database call near the end, and the database that we used is Google's Firebase.
Okay.
So it was taking a while, and the customer would respond, and then you'd see Alexa sitting there for, I want to say 3 or 4 seconds, which is enough time for a customer to think, uh-oh, is it still working? Is it thinking? Did it jump out? So we got that feedback, and then we added in the progressive response. So now it says, we are sending your order, or it said that for a while, and then we ended up backstep. So we were giving that progressive response for a while, where we said, hey, we're doing something in the background, please don't freak out. And then we took it a step further and said, okay, how about instead of the progressive response, we just speed up our database call, or we move the database call to the cloud and outside of the user interaction. So we've done that to really just streamline the process, and progressive responses are amazing with Jovo.
Yeah, that's nice if you have control over speeding up the response like you did. But in cases where maybe you don't, like you're calling a third-party API or something like that, and you just can't do anything to speed it up, that's where the progressive response can really help the user experience quite a bit, right?
Yep. It's as easy as what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
four real lines of code.
Yeah, that's so nice.
And that's one of the biggest things we found with Jovo is Jovo has created a wrapper that says, this is how you do it on Google. This is how you do it on Alexa. Let's create a wrapper around both of them and then just say, here you go, developer. Don't worry about thinking about all those long lines of code. Think, okay, you want a progressive response? Search progressive response and then add it in like 4 lines of code.
Yeah, no,
you want to figure out APL? You don't know APL? Okay, well, we got a tutorial for you with a template that you can download. And as we saw here, it took less than 30 seconds to get APL up and running with a testable app.
I like how Jovo is kind of targeting somewhere in the middle. Like you don't need to go like completely from scratch, but you get all the control that you would if you were going from scratch without the learning curve that maybe the web builders help you avoid that, the blueprints and stuff like that. But yeah, I think again, I'm a fan. So are you guys all in with Jovo? Is it pretty much this is your go-to development environment for the stuff that you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is not a single app that we have built since August that does not use Jovo. I was looking up how to connect Alexa skill with a Firebase backend, Alexa front end, and then I see this video by a company called Voiciety. And they were like, hey, here's how you do it with Jovo. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, how did I not know that this thing existed? And then since that day, we have been 100% on board with Jovo. But we also published the course on how to build with Jovo on Udemy, the Ultimate Voice Dev course. So it teaches you Google Actions and Alexa skills, and it's built using the Jovo framework by our team.
Okay. I've seen it. I've seen this. And,
I've got a question about that because I just discovered Jovo back in July. What did it look like when you discovered it back in the day before V1?
It's on the Dabble Lab YouTube channel. I'll see if I can find it real quick. It was November 10th, 2017.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'll put a link to it in the show notes for this one for anybody that wants to see it. Jan does Jovo Wednesdays on the Dabble Lab YouTube channel. So every Wednesday he publishes a tutorial video on the Dabble Lab channel as well. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, and so if anybody watching this is really interested in doing a deep dive into Jovo, check out the Jovo Wednesday playlist on the Dabble Lab YouTube channel and can kind of dive into it. And there's a ton of stuff on the Jovo.tech is the website also that Patrick's pulled up. Yeah, man, this is really, really cool. I really appreciate you taking the time out to share this stuff with us and putting it out there. And I'd love to circle back if you're open to it and get an update on the your dry cleaner skill and sort of see how that evolves. And maybe we can dive into another Jovo topic at a future point.
Oh, Steve, yeah, you've been a pleasure to talk with. Anytime you want to chat, we can make time. It was just me today, but we have plenty of other experts that we could bring on from our Voice First team. Yeah,
that would be awesome. We're trying to get as much out there to help other people learn and get familiar with good tools. And we'll also leave a link back to your Udemy course so that anybody that wants to do a dive can take that course as well. And yeah, we'll absolutely have to regroup and do this again. I've really enjoyed it, and again, appreciate you taking the time out to share this with us.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, Steve.
My pleasure. Thank you.